Hey everybody, Tony here with the Bike Lab in Oklahoma City, and today we're going to be taking a look at Specialized Recon mountain bike shoes. We get really excited about this shoe lineup because the changes they've made recently make this shoe very usable for a lot of different ways that you'd get this kind of shoe. The performance is great, but also the fit and feel is really good. But one thing Specialized does in all of its shoes that makes them the leader around the world in quality shoe and just happiness they give people that ride bikes is their obsession with bicycle fitting. And that's where you look at how the body connects to a bike and does it in such a way that it doesn't cause pain and it increases performance. And there's three things they do in all their shoes that does this really well. The first is what they call the varus wedge. The way your foot naturally sits, the big toe, the inside of your foot, when it naturally hangs is a little taller than the bottom side of the foot. As you walk, that collapse creates balance for you, but in a cycling shoe, where the shoes are rigid, your knee follows that collapse, and it has this feeling of pedaling on a wobbly table. You feel like you're not quite as stable, not as connected to the bike. So on the inside of all the Specialized shoes of the sole, they make that rise up about a 1.5 millimeters. It's not a ton, but it's enough to create a real sense of stability as you pedal with these shoes. Next, in the footbed, they do what they call the metatarsal button. It raises up the bed of your toes, where your ball of your foot is at. They find where your toes connect to your foot. When those push or squeeze together over time as you ride, that's why your feet go numb. It creates a lot of pressure. That metatarsal button raises those toes up and spreads them apart a little bit so that numbness doesn't happen and those nerves don't get pinched in there. And finally, do the longitudinal arch. When you're riding a bicycle, the pressure hits your foot in a different direction than when you're walking. When you're walking, you go heel to toe, and the pressure moves forward. In cycling, it's all pressure back towards the back of the foot, so it moves this direction. So the longitudinal arch creates support early in the arch so that you keep that collapse from happening. Again, when that collapse happens on a bike with a rigid shoe, it creates a sense of instability. So as they do these elements in the shoe, it feels like it fits you really, really well. Matches your foot, it keeps the numbness from happening, and it gives you that stability feeling that's really nice. So as you look at the line of Recon shoes, what Specialized always does is they just go bonkers for the top end, and then everything kind of trickles down from there. So when we look at the S-Works Recon shoe, the first thing we're going to see are custom BOA attachments here. These are specific to Specialized. They're metal instead of plastic, and they work really, really well. They are replaceable if they end up not working, which is nice. They used to be sewn into the upper. The upper material they use here is really unique. It's called Dyneema. Its mainstay is actually with the silk or yarn that's used for sailboats because it doesn't rip. It's really, really tough, but it's super lightweight. So they use that in the shoes because allowing the shoe to be tough is really important when you're mountain biking. There's rocks, there's roots, there's things you're gonna clip by. And if you try to use a really lightweight material in the upper of a mountain bike shoe, a lot of times it ends up tearing and ripping. So what's really nice with Dyneema is it's super lightweight, it has a ton of perforation in it, but it holds its shape. That stability feel happens and the shoes don't get loose and sloppy over time. They hold that position really, really well. So that upper construction here is really, really nice. On the bottom here, we're going to have their premium carbon sole, stiffness index of 13, and it's going to take all the energy you have in your legs and connect it to the bike. That rigid sole there is important because as you push into the bike, the number one point that you can lose energy is not the frame, it's not the crank, it's the shoe. So holding onto that energy that you're pushing into the bike allows you to get up over that hard rock section, allows you to accelerate out of a turn, and gives you that evened out pressure throughout the foot. Finally, something that we want to call out here is a lot of times on the bottom of the shoes and mountain bike shoes, they'll have like these hard plastic cleat-like things, kind of like old football cleats. And when you get off to walk in a mountain bike situation, it's not usually the easiest place. It's usually slippery or rocky or rooty, and that's because you couldn't ride it, now you got to walk it. And when you have that slick plastic on the bottom, it's really hard to move around. So on all the Recon shoes, Specialized has kind of taken a note from some of the rubber compounds they use in their tires and have made a really grippy rubber bottom to the shoe. So if you do end up having to get off and walk, you don't feel like you're slipping and sliding the whole time. You have a lot of grip. They even extend it down here into the sole, which I love for cyclocross. If you've done cyclocross at all, having That V-grippy allows you to unclip and be ready to pop off the bike a little quicker. So this is a crazy lightweight $425 S-Works Recon shoe. The fit, the feel, the durability of this shoe is incredible. It'll outlast any other shoe out there by quite a bit and keep its performance and fit for a long time. As we move down the line here, we're going to get a little quicker. All the shoes have that same grip on the bottom. It allows you to have a really good connection with anything you have to do when you walk. Something they've done with the front part of these shoes is allow the toe to rotate up. And it's been described as a plastic spoon, where you can push the plastic spoon up and it flexes, but you can't push it down very well. It kind of holds its shape going back down that way. That again has to do with when you're walking. Why is that important? If you ever have to walk in this perfectly rigid shoe, then your heel slips out and it starts to rub you raw and give you blisters. So allowing the front part of that shoe to move a little bit if you're using this for gravel or mountain bike means you're not going to rub the back part of your heel out completely raw. Down through the torch line here, you're going to have two boas on the, the Recon line here. The Recon 3.0 is going to have two boas here that are pop and release. Gives you good adjustment, synthetic upper, and good perforations throughout. And you're still getting a carbon fiber sole here with a stiffness index of 10. So you have 13 on the S-Works, you have 10 on the Recon 3.0. Good perforations, good grip, and two boas here. So really good value on this shoe. As we get down into the Recon 2.0, we get down into the plastic sole, so a stiffness index of 6, a synthetic leather upper, and then we're getting just one boa to kind of create a wrap around the top part of the foot. And this is where the shoes start, again, feeling much more like athletic shoes. So these shoes here are more minimalistic. They have a connection to your foot that feels like a sport performance shoe, ready to go out and rock, hold its shape for a long time. These shoes on the 2.0 and the 1.0 in the Recon line feel much more like athletic shoes. So there's a nice comfort add there. It feels familiar to any kind of running shoe or workout shoe you would have used in the past. Stiffness index does go down a little bit. You still get a lot of stability with the shoe, and you still get a boa here to help you stay connected. And then finally, we have the 1.0. It's very similar to the 2.0 on the bottom side of the shoe. It's identical. The difference is the upper. You get just the 3 Velcro straps here, which can be adjusted as you go. And they give you customization on top, middle, and bottom as far as how you want to have the pressure across your foot. And they're a great shoe for someone who's just getting started and wants to get in and ride. This one's also really popular as a spin class shoe. A lot of spin classes use a 2-bolt setting. So these shoes are really popular for that. And you can see they have some fun collars. So this is just a quick review of what makes Specialized Recon shoes special in the market, how they line up with their features, how they're different, and where you might fall. So if you're a sport performance enthusiast, whether it's mountain bike or gravel, you might trend towards this 3.0 or this S-Works. If you're out getting rad and just want a beginner style shoe to get that athletic fit and feel and be connected to your bike through clipping in, then the 2.0 and 1.0 are great. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. If you're on our website right now, we have the chat button just down there on the bottom of the screen. You can hit us up with a message. And if you have any questions at all, please let us know. Again, I'm Tony here with the Bike Lab in Oklahoma City, and we encourage you to join the ride.